Loading screen. Today's special guest needs a lot of introduction, but we might not give him one anyway. Today we have top left, loading screen. Rage. Today's special guest needs a lot of introduction, but
a lot of reverb.
We might not give him one anyway.
There we go.
Okay. There's our technical difficulty.
15 weeks, and we still can't figure it out. Okay.
Yeah, 15 weeks. There we go. Pro level, ladies and gentlemen, pro level. Top left, we do have player 1, Monsters Rage. Player 2, top right, we do have Angry Iceberg. Our special guest today is player 4, and he is player a member 4? of... player 4. I'm player 3.
Oh. Okay.
God damn it, KDEX, I'm new here. Just don't mess it up. Make me look bad, man.
It's not like he isn't nervous already. God,
it's all new to me. But we do have a special guest, member of Sovereign Esports. We have had one on already from Skill. We now have Sovereign Esports member number 2, SV Irish, also known as Irish Pulsar. And I'm, of course, your player 3, because I'm used to the bottom left corner. It's cozy, warm, and we have bacon. So today we will be talking, Destiny, creativity, Borderlands, and maybe E3? Who knows? We will actually start off with topic number 1, and that will be Destiny. Now, the cycle of weapons in Destiny PvP has long been either a problem or solution, depending on how you look at it. I just want to get your guys' feedbacks on how you guys feel Destiny PvP could either improve with weapon cycling or possibly just do away with it and never see it again. We'll start with Angry Iceberg.
All right, so when you talking about weapon cycling, I'm assuming you're talking about, I guess I should probably clear this up before, but just how they nerf a weapon to create another subclass that's a little more powerful.
Yeah.
That's kind of where you go. Okay, so I was going to say, it's like that. Anyway, you know what? I think it's, people, here's the thing about the Destiny community, and I think it really, it holds true for any gaming community, but people are going to gravitate toward that one power, super weapon, that one weapon that's the most powerful than all the others, or that one or two, and it's happened basically since the beginning. In the very first, one of the first metas was the Suros regime, okay, an auto rifle, and so that dominated PvP. That and the Vex Mythoclast, very early, the Vex Mythoclast just destroyed everything. So they ended up nerfing those, and they really nerfed the crap out of the Vex Mythoclast at first, and that was that was pretty much unusable for a while. And then eventually, like last spring, it ended up being the Thorn or the Last Word on the PS4. You had people were able to use the Hawkmoon, but. And so but the thing, what happened is that there wasn't a whole lot of balance between the classes. I mean, you could use some of the other weapons classes, but it pretty much in serious PvP last spring, especially, it was either the Thorn or the Last Word. That was just all you saw. That's all you saw in Trials. That's all you saw in Iron Banner. It was the most powerful weapon, the most dominant weapon, and so that's what everybody used. Rotating the weapons, as you're saying, or just trying to create balance is definitely good. Changing up the meta is definitely good. It allows you to try out some of the different weapons, and I think right now, I think the current state of the meta is fairly balanced. You have people that, if they want to use the Last Word, that's still very powerful now. A lot of people are liking the Mida Multi-Tool or the Meta Multi-Tool, depending on how you want to say it. Very good in PvP. Me personally, I like the Suros PDX 45 with the right rolls, or some of these other, like the Hawksaw is still, very powerful with the right rolls. And even the auto rifle, the Doctrine of Passing, which is from the Trials of Osiris, that auto rifle is crazy good. So you have a nice balance now. They're still going to be tweaking it here and there to kind of bring out other weapons to be allowing you to use. I'm sure they'll kind of allow you to, or do some make some adjustments so that the Suros PDX is popular again, or usable again. Or not Suros PDX, the Suros regime rather. And some of these other weapons that kind of don't ever get used. But I think right now the state of the meta is fairly balanced, because there really is no one weapon that absolutely stands out. Hell, there's people in regular Crucible using the Thorn again, you know, especially in what they call sweaty matches. So I think it's good. Again, it kind of keeps the PvP fairly fresh to an extent. I mean, it makes people mad at first, but then people get over it pretty quickly when they just move on to figure out what the next big weapon is. And right now, there really isn't that one single best weapon. It's really personal preference now. So I think what they've done is really good.
Yeah. Irish, how do you feel, man?
Oh, well, I'll keep it short and sweet just because of the simple fact that I have not played Destiny since about week 3 or week 4 of Taken King. So I can only speak for what the cycle was beforehand, and which was obviously, especially before Taken King, it was all the hand cannons in the world. Yeah, and it's a good thing. I mean, if we're talking about the positives of it, is when you switch out what type it is every once in a while, you know, it forces people to get a little bit outside their comfort zone, explore the other weapons. I guess would be the right come of it. I mean, I didn't really know how to use the hand cannons at all before that came about, and honestly, I still didn't until I got Thorn, and that was the only way I was ever successful in PvP with that cycle of weapons. So, I mean, it's a good thing. You can step out of your zone. You know, you can get to learn an auto rifle, or a hand cannon, which they're very different. So you get to expand your horizons a bit. So if we're talking about the positives, that's always been a positive of the cycle. The other stuff, whatever.
Yeah, with the new balance that Taken King has provided us, a lot of people are clamoring for that one PvP weapon. But yet, those are the same people that were clamoring for the weapon cycling to stop. And now I kind of see how weapon cycling could be a good thing, because it actually revives the content every time it cycles. Say, you spend your week or so grinding up for a Hawkmoon, but then the next month you have to go get Truth, or you have to go get a Suros auto rifle, because that's going to be the new Gjallarhorn of PvP. It makes you kind of keep playing and keep playing and keep playing, and increases their engagement rates. I like the new weapon balancing. I just wish that maybe there was a mode where you could have like a manufacturer mode where you only play with Suros weapons 1 week, and then next it's Dead Orbit weapons and Vanguard weapons, and you just keep cycling through those, and you get to a point where, say you win 10 matches in PvP with that one manufacturer, then you get reputation with the manufacturer, and the more rep you get, the better guns you get. I'd like to see that in PvP. Monsters Rage.
Yeah, I don't play Destiny a lot, guys, and you all know that, and especially PvP. I'm not into it. I am just starting to get to the level that I can do raids, so the only thing I have to say about it is, yeah, I think it's a way to keep people coming back to it. I think it's also a way to have somebody like me jump in and not be worried about this overpowered person that is using the same gun to kill every little scrub like myself that comes in. We might have more of a chance because he's forced to use a weapon that he's not good with, just because his regular weapon isn't OP. So I think it's good in that way to bring people like myself into it and keep us a little more entertained instead of just being sheep. You guys just shooting us. So for me, that's really all I see it as a casual gamer, way to bring us in, and I don't see anything wrong with it. I mean, the people that play it all the time, they're going to have multiple weapons that they love. It just forces them to use them more often now.
Yeah, that's one way of looking at it. Our next topic today is actually Nintendo. Nintendo doesn't get to make the news very often, and this is probably the first or second time we've mentioned them on the podcast. The first one was the NX announcement. But this one is going to be a little bit different. The NX for the holiday season. Now, dev kits have been shipped out to developers, so our developers can start making games for the NX. and they've already filed patents for the controllers and whatnot. We've already discussed this on the podcast. So how would you guys feel about seeing the NX on shelves for the holiday season? Here we could start with Monsters Rage.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be here for the holiday season. We're not waiting until 2017. It's coming out. I predict, they usually do a November release on anything new. So I'm saying November. Middle November, you're going to have a release date. This, is going to be big news for Nintendo come this summer. We're not going to talk about that just yet, but it will be the catalyst to letting people know, yes, you can get your hands on it this fall. What does it say about Nintendo Wii U? It's dead. That's what it says. That's what it says. There's no other thing about it. So anybody out there that loves their Wii U, enjoy it while you can. Enjoy it while you can, because you're going to be buying the next, and you're not going to care about the Wii U anymore. They've even talked about it basically taking the 3DS as well as the Wii U out of the market with this new next console system. So big words, but we'll see what happens.
All right, Angry Iceberg?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what everybody's expecting. That it's going to be, they're trying to push something out there that's going to actually compete on the market. I'm really anxious to hear, the details on it and see if it's actually going to compete on a hardware level with this generation. At this point in time, I honestly don't expect that I'll be picking one up unless what they come out with is, mind-blowingly unique and something that I have to have. I very rarely play my my Wii or my Wii U. They just collect dust. My family plays them, but like I said, I have my PS4, I have my Xbox One, and again, they would have to come out with something that I have to have. And I'm sure we'll hear about something soon. But I mean, I think a lot of people are expecting it to come out, this winter, and I think it's actually a really good time for Nintendo if what they have is something that we're going to want, just for the simple fact that there's really going to be no specific competition for them. I mean, yeah, you're competing against Xbox and PlayStation, but it's going to be it's going to be the only thing, the only new thing out, and so people are going to have a lot more money for it to purchase it. I'm just I'd like to see it again. Hopefully, it's at least on par with the current hardware, in the Xbox and PS4. Hopefully, it's actually a little bit better. Hopefully, it's a little bit future-proof. But remains to be seen.
All right, Irish.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like Iceberg was saying. I don't really play. I don't even own a Wii or a Wii U. I haven't been a Nintendo fan for a long time, since GameCube probably. I mean, I play with my friends at their place and play some Smash because it's Smash. Can't get it anywhere else. But it sounds good. It sounds interesting. I mean, they're talking about the portable version being released in 2016, and then a console version is the rumor in 2017, at least from what I've read. I mean, what the initial stuff looks good. It looks 4K 60 FPS for streaming, 9P 60 FPS for local rendering. So I mean, that's good. That's what Nintendo needs.
Yep.
I know some friends that are going to be extremely upset that the DSs are going to be off the market and dead because they live and die by those DSs.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, this makes sense for Nintendo. They got to make a next step. But this also, I think, is smart for them, doing portable first, then console, because I think more than ever, Nintendo's more of the handheld than they were the console of the past. Yeah. So, and I mean, I heard a rumored number that was going to be about 200. Was going to be the price for the first wave of this for Nintendo NX for the portable, and I think that's good. I mean, Nintendo needs to come out with something. It's been a while. As Angry Iceberg, they're not going up against another console competition, so I'm sure they'll sell pretty well. And a November release would be ideal because they could do something like GameStop did for Microsoft, which was you turn in a PS4, you got half credit towards an Xbox One. I mean, I think they'll do something same with for Black Friday with DS and Wii U. Bring that in and you'll get a little bit off so we can transition you all over. So I think release date's smart. Sounds like a good thing from Nintendo. I look forward to seeing it at E3 because they better well show it off at E3.
Yeah.
And I think they will. So
Yeah, I definitely think they're going to show this off at E3, but that's another segment. But I will be talking about the chipset because I did read articles with Nintendo executives stating that inside the NX is current generation chips. It's not, future gen. It's comparable to the Xbox One and the PS4. Secondly, I don't understand why they would develop the console and the portable version separately unless they're looking to merge their portable market with their console market.
Just to touch on that, KDX, the whole thing behind this is that you're going to be able to play your games on the go from the console to the portable version. So the controller itself is going to be your screen, and it will basically link up wirelessly throughout wherever you're going throughout a wireless network. So you can continue your gameplay whether you're here, you're at school, you're at the dentist getting your teeth done, whatever. It'll be your same game that's being played at home. It's just going to be piggybacked on a network.
That's going to be really interesting because then you're going to be having games dependent on Wi-Fi even if they're single player.
And that's the workaround that they're doing is they're going to be giving some sort of currency, whether it's, I guess you guys remember the Nintendo shop that they did. It was like a rewards program.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And it's going to be something along that lines where you're going to get coins or points, some sort of denomination that will go towards maybe future DLC for a game that you have. And it requires you to just keep your console on when you're not playing it so that your console can be used as a piggyback for someone else that might be in the area.
Right. That's going to suck for people that are in small towns because you're not going to be able to play much.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's not... Ugh. That might not be a good look on Nintendo looking back at that. Because, I'm in a small town. I'm in a town of about 10,000 people. And out of that 10,000 people, maybe 50 will pick up an NX within the first few months.
I love you, bro. I love you, but Nintendo doesn't care about the 10,000 when they've got a city that's got 500,000. They just don't.
Or a city like mine, which is north of 2 million. So
yeah, and that's just the target audience. So I know that they do this and it works. I mean, we also have technology for our Wi-Fi and cable running, fiber optics, all that sort of stuff that just keeps improving as well. So you never know what 3 years down the road it's going to be like.
Yeah, that's true. Now with the console version, that's also going to help with the processing power. And I heard that the mobile version, if you're playing on the console, if you have it linked up, the mobile version will actually help with the processing of the console. It's going to be a two-way street instead of just one direct from the console to the mobile. So that might be interesting if you're a console gamer. You could just have it as a console and improve your, FPS from, 30 to 45 or, up to 60, maybe even 70 FPS.
And I'm sure they're going to have I'm sure they're going to have external hard drive situations where you keep plugging them and, creating this major big ass brick that's going to be processing beautiful games, or you could buy the one brick version and play the games. They're just not going to look great.
Yeah, it's going to be a Nielsen family from the Family Guy episode where you just got to have people stacked up with 50 of them and they're running Star Ocean and StarCraft and whatever they want to on them.
But look at that dot, it has 60 colors.
Yeah, that one little pixel is just blinking so fast.
And I heard this. This is from a source, but it's unconfirmed. And I saw this. It's like it'd also be able to piggyback off of smartphones, PCs, and rumored to be piggybacking. You could also bring it up on other consoles, competing consoles, due to the Wi-Fi connection, which is really odd. I mean, I can believe the smartphones and the PC, but Microsoft playing Nintendo games, unless they came to some type of deal, same with PlayStation, I don't see how that works, but apparently that was a source that leaked to like GameStop and GameSpot, and I guess that's a thing.
That would be a copyright nightmare.
Wouldn't that be a server thing though? That's what what the issue is that Microsoft and Sony can't control servers. They can just control, like the servers are basically all the information that's going to them and then sending it to us. So they can't control that hub. They can control certain information to the hub, but they can't control that flow going back and forth because the internet's supposedly free.
Well, they can control their PlayStation and Xbox stores, and those are server hubs.
Right, but Nintendo isn't going to have to piggyback off of that situation.
Yeah.
It's pegging back off the network, but the only thing my concern was is if this is legit, if this rumor is legit, that means you would have to... If the rumor was legit, that means someone would have spilled earlier that there was a huge major contract backdoor signing with both Sony and Microsoft because they wouldn't let it happen without a huge contract. Yeah. And every media journalist would be all over that. Because it would be basically Nintendo sharing between two other major companies to allow this to happen.
Which is almost absurd because Nintendo is the home of first-party exclusives.
I mean, smartphones. I mean, PC. That's one thing or another. But other consoles, that doesn't make a lick of sense.
Yeah, I could see smartphones because Pokemon Go did launch today. I could see other wireless devices, maybe laptops, maybe something mobile along there where you can plug it into your laptop and get your internet feed from there, or a stronger one anyway. But we're going to go ahead and transition into Electronic Arts Expo, which is E3. We did mention a little bit of E3, how we're going to more than likely see the NX and be able to tool around with it at E3. But what else do you guys expect to see at E3? What are you looking forward to in E3? Or what do you think might miss the cut? We'll go ahead and start with Irish.
Okay, well, I'll talk just in relation to Microsoft because that's just what I know best. I can speculate a couple things on Sony. Microsoft, I think you'll see Halo Wars 2 pop up at one point or another. That was confirmed last year. They said they have a working version of it, and it's been highly anticipated, and that's going to be shown because it had a very niche audience. You'll get a Gears of War confirmed release date. I'm sure you may see another snippet of that. I think you'll see more of ReCore as well, which was slated to be ended this year or beginning of 2017. I think you'll see some of Scalebound, even though it got delayed as well, so that they can keep the hype alive for that. Because Microsoft's really trying to bring in more Japanese video game companies to develop exclusives or titles that will fit the Xbox, which is basically ReCore and Scalebound are their main two ones right now. Mm-hmm. I think you'll see Mass Effect Andromeda actually on the Microsoft stage. I know the small test footage was on Sony's stage, but given the history of Mass Effect with Xbox helped make that game. Nobody really knew about it until on Game of the Year, and then it became a huge thing, and it didn't get to PlayStation until 1 year after ME2 launched. I think you may see something of an exclusive, maybe not a timed exclusive, but some tip of the hat to Microsoft that they'll do. And I think those will be the big ones on the stage. I'm sure Microsoft has got some unannounced surprises to come because they are boasting that this is going to be even bigger than last year, and last year was pretty big for them. So it'll be interesting to see. Those are just the main titles that you know will be there or in some type of form. I'm interested to see what they've got in hiding right now. Maybe some more HoloLens, because there was some talk about HoloLens a couple months ago, and that was a cool demo. So. Yeah. And No Man's Sky and Horizon obviously are going to be big staples on Sony's conference. Mm-hmm. If I had a PlayStation 4, I'd be all over those games and had them already pre-ordered just because they look quite amazing. But yeah, that's what I got.
All right, we'll go Angry Iceberg. We'll go.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the VR displays. Seeing some what they got coming. In that realm. But the only thing, honestly, that I really care about, and I know I'm going to be disappointed, but I'm really hopeful because last year we kind of got something we've been waiting for. Half-Life 3, please, just Valve, for crying out loud, say something. Say yes, we're developing. It's going to be out in 10 years. I don't care. Just let us know that it's actually happening because, God damn it, it's been way too long, and I need my Half-Life 3. I need my closure, man. I need my closure.
Wasn't there an article a couple months ago by GameSpot that was all like, okay, gamers, we know you love it, but it's time. I think it was actually by someone at Valve. It's like someone by Valve is like, we love all the fans, but it's time to let it die.
Yeah, it was something along those lines.
I cannot allow myself to believe that this is true. I don't see how they. Honestly, I think that. It would be. I don't know. I'm just getting flustered now because like Half-Life 3.
It's the fabled unicorn of video games.
Well, I know, but we got last year. What was that dumb game everybody wanted that they got? Crap.
The Guardian.
The last Guardian. Yeah, the Final Guardian, Last Guardian, whatever. Like I didn't like for that one. I really didn't care. But come on, Half-Life 3. They're gonna make so much money on Half-Life 3 just because of the anticipation. Obviously it has to be done well. If it's not done well, then it'll be just another freaking Duke Nukem Forever, right? But this. They just need. I don't know. I just want to keep hang on to a little bit of hope, But so other than that, I want to see No Man's Sky, and I want to see obviously Destiny 2, what they got going on. I really don't think we're going to see a whole lot about Destiny 2 until then. We'll get a little bit of this and that, but that's where we're going to really learn what Destiny 2 is. There was an article that came out on Kotaku, which I'm really kind of viewing with a little bit of a grain of salt. That Destiny 2 is going to be delayed, which everybody's expecting it out in September, but they're saying it's going to be delayed. But again, it's Kotaku, so take it for what it's worth. But that's pretty much. For me, yeah, Destiny 2, No Man's Sky, and VR. That's what I'm really looking forward to. And please, dear God, Half-Life 3, please, just Half-Life 3, please.
Real quick, if I could, I don't think you'll see Destiny. I have someone I know who's very much in the industry, and he says it's going to be delayed until Q1 or Q2 because they do not want to put it up against competition right off the bat. Especially big games like Andromeda, so they're delaying it.
That's smart.
I think you'll see a full delay because they will not release it against that many games in fall.
Well, then they have to come up with something, or else nobody's going to care. If they delay it too far, nobody's going to care.
Yep.
I just think it's an issue. No Man's Sky, Horizon, Andromeda, those are all games that could easily beat it out in sales, and it can get really overwhelmed.
Well, when you're looking at when you talk about No Man's Sky, that has a release date of June, right? September is a long ways from June. I guarantee, I don't know, I can't guarantee it, but
that's right,
my opinion that No Man's Sky is not even going to be a factor by the time by September. It's still people are going to be playing it, but people, I think, honestly, I'm still very much in the belief that it's still going to be in that area of the spore where it's gonna die a slow death. But it's not, in 3 or 4 months, people are going to move on because there's really, I don't know. And I guess I'm still waiting to see. It definitely could, but I don't know if it's going to have that super long, super longevity and replayability. I don't know. We'll see. But there definitely, there's going to be competition, but Destiny is the new MMO. It is the new World of Warcraft to an extent. It's not as big as World of Warcraft. Don't get me wrong, but it has that kind of following where that people want it, people crave it, people want to play it. It is a well-made game despite what all the critics say, and all the trolls say. That people come back to it, and I don't know. I think it'd be a mistake to delay it into 2017. I think that would just be silly.
Well, I think a lot of people are gonna. The thing is now Division launches, and now if anybody did the alpha, and I'm not gonna say anything about the alpha because apparently still under NDA, but there was a survey, and it really, really compared to a certain kind of game on which we just touched about, and I don't know. If Division does better than Destiny Vanilla or in all its DLCs, there's gonna be a lot of comparisons of can Destiny 2 do what Division did? Can it improve? Because now you're adding another game they have to improve on, not just their own game, which was 70% failure at a minimum of what it did and what it was promised. You have a lot to live up to. If I was them, the smart decision is not to launch during the fall slew of games. Because we all know that's one game right after the other, after the other, after the other. It's just, I don't think that would be smart sales-wise from them. And knowing Activision and knowing they love their sales, I don't think they would do that.
It needs to release
Could be wrong.
either in the spring or summer next year when there's a gaming drought.
Well, yeah.
Like when
honestly,
Destiny was launched originally.
Well, if they're
when
going
it
to
had
do
no
that, I
comps.
mean, I think that they'd be shooting themselves in the foot, and that's just my honest belief as a hardcore Destiny player. Because if they don't, I mean, unless they have some big DLC coming, you know, they have a plan for content release other than what they've shown so far. They'd be shooting themselves in the foot, and by the time Destiny 2 came out, everybody will have moved on and won't even care about Destiny 2. I think that would be a huge mistake for them to delay it that far.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
that is
Because
quite a
September's
while
kind of
away.
that sweet spot. September's kind of that sweet spot for them because it's kind of in the middle of that stuff, but you know, November's kind of after that. So you want to get people in before that November rush.
Yeah. Because when that November rush hits, that competition's way too fierce to even put it. They're going to put out some kind of event or, you know, a small package of DLC. I won't say DLC with Destiny because they've already said no substantial DLC.
Well, they did say there was going to be a large update to the sandbox. So there's going to be, I mean, and that basically what that's going to probably entails a lot of, PvE missions, you know, new quest lines, new armor and weapons, and possibly even a raid. So it may not be as big, you know, it's not going to be as big as Taken King, but it'll probably be, I would say probably at least as big as Crota's End. You know, that DLC, Dark Below.
Dark Boil.
Dark Below, yeah.
Dark Boil was nice. It wasn't substantial, but it is nice.
Well, no, it
wasn't
was disappointing in size because when you look at a DLC. But again, we were paying like what it was like $20 for the for more than you're getting out of a Call of Duty map pack. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So
And,
that's why I said that's kind of about the level that I'm expecting. But
Yeah, Vitamer in the chat says Destiny needs to do something soon. Their hardcore players are restless. In a way, that's a good thing for Bungie because you're making players thirsty for your content. And
no, you're making them frustrated. You're making them, because, and this is the
Piss
worst
them
thing
off.
they could be doing as the Division comes out, because the Division is going to take people's attention. We already knew that, okay? But if they don't have a reason to come back and they don't have a reason to look forward to coming back to, I mean,
Say goodbye to
they could have angled it right now that the Division was just going to be a small distraction until the next big thing comes out, okay? But that next big thing has to come out in April. Has to come out in March.
Yeah.
And there was, and I was actually talking on my stream today to another streamer, Engineer Mike, and we were talking about it. And they, in this their last weekly update, which was the first one of the year, actually, this last week, they mentioned that there won't be, they're not ready to talk about the next DLC, but it's going to come out sometime after February. And then I asked, okay, so when's the Division due to launch? Anybody? March 10th, right? Or March 8th? I think is what the date that I was given.
Early March, yeah.
Yeah.
Or
So
March.
so again, I mean that's right after February. So again, I think a lot of people are just complaining is that the communication from Bungie, and it is frustrating. But again, if they don't do something real quick, and this Crimson Doubles thing that they're coming out with is not going to do it, they're people are just going to move on. They're just going to give up and they're going to move on. And if they delay Destiny 2 until till 2017, there's going to be too many people that are moving on. They're going to lose out in sales that way. And that's just my opinion as a hardcore Destiny streamer.
I mean, honestly, how many times have Destiny players been restless? Period. Throughout all the content. I mean, let's just be. It's a very, very. You have to satisfy this fan base, and you're very right. You're very right, Angry. I mean, you have to launch that DLC before March, or else you're in trouble. If you get too
You have to at
many
least
people
tell us
engrossed.
when it's going to be coming out, because we don't even know what's coming.
Exactly.
We don't know what's coming. Like
Give you
before,
some
we
hints
knew
of
there was
what
going to
it
be a
is.
DLC in the spring. There was going to be a DLC in the spring. We knew this. Okay, we're like, well, we've already done everything that you gave us in the December release. But you have to remember, there was the first Destiny came out in September. The first DLC came out in December, and then the next DLC came out, in the spring. But at least we knew somewhat of a time frame. We don't know anything right now, and that's what most people are frustrated about. We just don't know what's coming. They say, okay, something is coming, but we don't know what it is. The communication lines has been very poor, and I think Bungie knows this. I think hopefully we'll start hearing stuff from them now. They just addressed a serious issue with matchmaking. They're going to be doing that starting tomorrow. They're going to basically testing it out starting tomorrow with the Iron Banner. So they are making moves forward. But like I said, as somebody who doesn't plan on moving to the division, because I mean I've watched videos of it. It's too different for me. Just the gameplay style is too different for me than Destiny. I don't plan on playing it. But I will watch it, and maybe it will pique my interest if I don't expect anything new out of Destiny, because it is starting to get a little old the way it sits right now.
Yeah. I think even if they were to give us small bursts of content, like they did with SRL, like they're doing with the Iron Bear and Bloody Doubles and whatnot, I think that's enough to quench our thirst until that somewhat substantial, I'll say not substantial, but it's probably going to be somewhat substantial piece of DLC does drop, because they're going to keep giving us these events until Destiny 2 comes out in order to free up their staff for the game.
Well, and that's the other thing is with E3, I think that there is going to be some mention about Destiny 2 of whether it's in-game footage or what, just to get those players. All right, it's coming. So I think it would be a mistake if they didn't include that somewhere in E3, even if it is going to be pushed forward. They need to settle the crowds, and if they don't, they're going to lose the crowds.
I don't think that we'll necessarily see gameplay footage from Destiny 2, but I think we'll see some kind of announcement, some kind of, okay, we have Destiny 2, we are working on Destiny 2, and we'll be releasing something at, PlayStation Experience, because they are heavily partnered with PlayStation. So I could see that, because PlayStation Experience is about 4 months down the road off of E3. And that'll give them enough time to get a video package together and everything like that. They're so busy trying to fix, broken doors in Destiny, they don't really have the time to be making video packages for Destiny 2.
Well,
I think you'll see a cinematic at E3 on most likely Sony's press conference.
I wouldn't mind
with
seeing
a release date at the
cinematic,
end. I think that's what they'll do.
I want to see Red Dead Redemption 2. That's what I want to see. That's
if that shows up on Microsoft's stage, it'll automatically win E3.
Yeah, it will.
Because that game,
100%
because they're still vying for that game to even be on the backwards compatibility list, but Rockstar won't let them just yet. So even though that's most requested,
there might be a reason for that.
And somebody said in the chat a while back, a Kingdom Hearts 3 release date. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to see that either, because they did release some gameplay footage and said that it was in development in the 13 E3. And we still have not heard anything from that. We might hear something like a definitive release date. Okay, it's going to be out, holiday season. Might get a little bit more game footage, but I'm still doubtful even about that.
Okay, I'm going to shoot out some game titles here, and you guys just say yay or nay whether you think it's going to show up at E3.
Okay.
All right, Watch Dogs 2.
No.
No.
Beyond Good and Evil 2. Sorry, Angry.
Yes.
Which game?
Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Good and Evil 2.
I think it's possible. Yeah.
Do you think Destiny 2 is going to be there?
It'll
be there in some form, and it needs to be. It really does in some form. It needs to be in some form, or and then they need to lay out a plan. If it is indeed delayed until 2017, they better have a pretty damn good plan to hold us over.
I think they'll do. Titanfall 2 will definitely be there.
Yeah,
they pulled out last year.
Yeah.
I think that'll be on Microsoft's, even though they're going cross-platform now. I think Microsoft will take the lead with Respawn on that one, so that'll be a big highlight for a Microsoft stage as well.
Yeah, definitely.
What about Final Fantasy 15? You think they're going to show a lot more of that?
I think they will.
Sure.
There's been constant articles lately. I think you'll see that a little bit on Sony's floor. Maybe not too much. I think you'll get a release date for sure.
Yeah, and they're obviously going to show like Project Morpheus, and they're going to show more of the HoloLens. But the one thing that I don't know how they're going to show it is the Nintendo Next. They're going to show that. I don't know if it's going to be a mashup trailer of different games that are going to be out for release, but they're going to show something, and they're probably going to give a release date on E3.
I wouldn't put past Nintendo if they do a full console reveal. If they reveal the actual console on stage.
I wouldn't put it past them either. And speaking of VR, I was at CES this year again as well, and that was very VR heavy. All the VRs in the world were at CES, and I think you'll see Oculus somewhere on someone's floor somewhere at E3 because that had the largest VR booth in all of CS, almost rivaled Samsung's floor with all their TVs, and also had the hugest waiting line nonstop throughout all 3 days, which most people didn't even get to see it.
Well, Oculus is Microsoft now.
I think you'll see Oculus somewhere. No, wait, isn't it by Facebook or did it get bought out by Facebook? I thought Oculus was behind Facebook now. I thought Zuckerberg bought it.
I didn't hear that Facebook got it. I thought Oculus was Microsoft's little toy.
I don't think so because Microsoft hasn't had presence at CES for 4 years now. It's only Sony still says they're among the group, but I think you'll see Oculus. If that's true, then you'll see Oculus or HoloLens on Microsoft's floor, or they at least got to update you on how that's going because it was obvious to me at CES amongst all the drones that were happening. It was between drones and VR. That were the two major things that dominated here in Vegas at the convention floor. And I think you will see more VR because they're announcing, I think Oculus said they're launching with 100 plus titles to go with their VR set. So sooner or later, there has to be a heavy VR presence at on the stages and at the booths at E3. And I think this will be the year if CES is any indication at all.
Yeah, it was purchased by Facebook in March 2014 for $2 billion.
Yeah.
$2 billion.
$2 billion.
Damn.
That's more than Star Wars, folks. And also more than Candy Crush.
That's more than the Powerball lotto.
Yeah.
I think we need to start discussing off camera maybe ways of making people see the world the way they see the world and rake in some money.
There's a microchip in my mind. But
don't worry, guys. Judgment Day's coming. It's cool.
Yeah, another game I'm actually looking forward to release date wise would be Horizon Zero Dawn, Gran Turismo 7 or Gran Turismo Touring or Sport or whatever it's called. I'm looking forward to that. Ace Combat 7. I'm actually looking forward to as well because that was one of the titles that that PlayStation VR announced. Looking forward to that as well. But yeah, I am actually suspecting now that Nintendo will go ahead and reveal their console on stage because that'd be the best move that they could possibly do. They've already got the dev kits out. They could start, crafting together some, simple trailers of, Mario, Zelda. They can do maybe even a Smash trailer for it because a Smash game's going to the NX. It's just a matter of time. But we will go ahead and move on from E3 unless you guys have any other comments. Anything else you guys want to see from E3?
No, I think we beat that.
Half-Life 3.
Yeah.
Half-Life 3 ain't coming. Ain't coming.
Oh,
dude.
I do have one last thing to say, and this is it. Angry. Okay. Angry has wanted Half-Life 3 for so long. He was standing in quick stand. Okay, this whole time he's been like, "It's coming in. It's coming in." And he would just keep sinking and sinking and sinking.
That's why I'm only ahead,
and you can see where he is right now. So I hope it comes out, buddy, because I don't want to lose you.
Angry.
Oh,
so have I. I gave up on it last year when ex-Valve said, it's not coming. I'm like, okay. You worked on Half-Life 2. I'll take your credit.
Huh? Ex-Valve, huh?
Ex-Valve, but he worked on Half-Life and Half-Life 2. I mean, there's at a certain point where
I don't care if it's 60. If I'm 60, they're gonna come out with it. Damn it! Even if I have to save up the money, buy Valve, and make them make it. Damn it!
You know what? This is a shout out to Microsoft. Here's how you win the race: you buy Half-Life 3 the rights and launch it on the console.
Oh,
and
God.
only on Microsoft. Buy it out. Buy everybody that worked on it. Launch it as an FPS on the console. Take Half-Life 3.
Oh my
make
God.
it a Microsoft exclusive.
Exactly.
That would win you everything. You'd see PC gamers be like, okay, well, Microsoft, you done it.
Yep,
We'll take it.
Game over.
That would win the hearts of everybody.
Now, talking from Half-Life 3 and something that we might see at E3, we will be discussing Mass Effect Andromeda. And here's Irish's fist pump of approval, because he is currently streaming through Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. Now, Mass Effect Andromeda is highly regarded as, we want this game. Mass Effect 3 ended on a very sour note for a lot of people. And we kind of want that better conclusion. We want a better ending to Mass Effect. So, do you think it's really going to live up to Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3? We'll start with the man that's most excited about this, and that would be not me, but Irish.
Well, first off, I don't think I'm in the minority of that ME3 didn't leave me with such a sour note. I just think a lot of the DLC that they released should have been in the main game. It would have helped out the dialogue at the end. Also, EA has a deadline. There were certain things to do. I'm glad that they responded with the extended cut as quick as they did. Obviously, there were some issues, but I think before the ending, you could almost consider that a perfect game in the series. ME2 was a lot of hype to live up to. But Andromeda, I think we've only seen some very low snippets. I mean, we saw a shot at some landscapes a while back at Sony's press conference. We saw the ship and the voiceover of Shepard, and this takes place after ME3. I think it will live up to hype because they've taken a long time to do it. They did just recently lose one of their directors that was working on the game, but he wasn't the main director, so there's nothing to worry about there. And they also brought a lot of people over from other BioWare games to help out with Andromeda. They pulled people from Dragon Age Inquisition who were working on the story to work on Mass Effect Andromeda. They pulled people that were working on DLC like Fallen Empire for Star Wars The Old Republic, pulled them off the project and pulled them onto Mass Effect. So clearly they're putting all their resources into it. And just looking at Mass Effect's history, all 3 games have won Game of the Year and Best RPG. And ME1, I believe, won BioWare Company of the Year too. I think they have. I call them the king of RPGs for a reason, is because their storytelling and their universe that they create is extremely, extremely good. If you look at ME1 to ME2 to ME3, there really aren't many backpedaling negatives. I don't think you will see too many in Andromeda. And Andromeda is supposed to capitalize on one thing a lot of Mass Effect players liked, which was the tripping over everything. The exploration and the customization that got upgraded through ME2 to ME3. And that's on a much larger scale now. They've already quoted that it's larger than the galaxy of ME2 and ME3 of what you can reach. So they're going bigger, they're going more customization, they're giving a lot of... I think there'll be some snippets and maybe some fan service. I think this will do very well. They've been very careful about this. When they've been at a low point, like I said, they've pulled people from other major games that they've been working on to focus. I think that's a signal that they really want to do right by this game. Also, EA hasn't been pushing them as much because Andromeda has been delayed twice.
Yeah.
Only by a couple months or anything. So I think EA's giving them a little bit slack to do what they need to do, which is a good sign. And that's what I think will make this game quite good. I don't know where it will stand amongst the Mass Effect series. ME2 is still near and dear to my heart. Also, it's ME2's birthday, by the way. 6 years old today. Just got to throw that out. I mean, I'll be throwing that on the stream later. But I think it'll be. I think it will deliver. If it doesn't, then I think that'll be the first time BioWare does not deliver for me, and that'll make me extremely disappointed. But also, there are high expectations for this game, and it can easily go wrong if it isn't delivered to the hype because of its fan base.
Well,
but I think it will.
Well, with its hype, that's almost just player created, because they haven't given us much. They showed the ship. They voiced Shepard. They showed us a few locations. We don't even know if those locations are set in there, or if those are placeholder locations that they rendered up for showing. So we don't quite know that quite yet, but I think a lot of the hype is player-based, because we do want that, okay, Mass Effect 3, we want more of that, but we want better as well. I think that's why they have a tight lip on it. They're allowing delays so where they can make the quality good, and they don't overhype and undersell, because I think that's what their biggest fear is.
Yeah.
Monsters Rage,
I'm-
Angry Iceberg.
I'm a real fan of the series too. I don't talk about it a lot because it's been a while since it has been out, and I need to replay that series now that we're talking about it. Because I had fond memories of the
You
story.
could
It was
watch my
epic.
stream after this.
There we go. There we go. But there's like an epic story, and it travels from the first one to the third one, and to be able to carry that story and have it make sense all the way through, it's just genius writing. And I'm looking forward to Andromeda. I'm not worried at all. I'm not worried at all. It's going to be a different entity because it is going to take place. I think is it 10 years in the future, somewhere around there. But,
Somewhere after ME3 doing something or other. We don't know anything other than that.
But I mean, it's going to be a new person that you're going to be portraying, obviously. But I don't even care. I don't even care. I hope that this turns into another 3-part series because I'm on board. I'm on board. It's next generation console, next gen tech, and we have Mass Effect again. So I'm all on board. If there's anybody out there that's griping and moaning about stuff, stop it. It's going to be great. It's gonna be fantastic.
There's really nothing to gripe. I mean, we've gotten 30 seconds plus or minus most of each little out of two things over the past 6 years. I mean, the only thing that's really hyping the game is the fan base. I mean, they're purposely not releasing any content. All we know is it takes place after ME3, and they've had to clarify that X amount of times. Because the player base has its own universe about what happens in between. So they just keep after repeating it's after ME3. It's after ME3. Shepard is dead. Shepard's dead. Stop it. And, I mean, hey, if the customization is much more, I mean, why not take it one step further and you get to pick an alien if you're choosing to be the main? In which case, I picked Korean. But,
There you go.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see.
Angry Iceberg, anything on Andromeda?
No, not really. I mean, I think I own all 3 of the first 3, but I've only played through part of the first one.
Okay.
So I really don't have much of an opinion. So yeah, I'm sure it's gonna be great. Maybe one day I'll play it.
There you go.
Best RPG series in history, dude. I'm calling it.
All I have to say is give me Garrus or give me death. Okay.
I don't know. I think they're trying to distance completely from. I think they'll give you a little history, but I don't think you're going to see anybody of the original 3 games.
We might see them in more of an authoritative position, like admirals and emissaries and ambassadors, from the old times that did heroic work that gained those positions. Take the whole storyline progress and kind of incorporate them.
Also, they promised the choice factor that they did through ME1, ME2, and ME3 will be there, which leads me to believe there will be sequels up to Mass Effect Andromeda 2 that will carry over choices. So that's great. Because that's what, as Monstrous Rage said, that was genius writing to keep all 3 of those all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah,
it really
it
was
makes
genius.
Yeah.
I mean, even down to the side characters like Nasana Dantia showing up if you did that side mission, or Helena Blake.
Yeah,
Or
whoever you
just
killed
the
is-
side stuff. Just the side stuff of who you helped out.
Yep.
It just shows up a little bit. Conrad Werner for those crazy fans.
All right, now we have a short topic to discuss, just one that I wanted to go ahead and have on the podcast, and that's creativity in video games. I got a nice little picture of the Pac-Man ghost in there to represent creativity. How to be creative in the video game marketplace with so many different indie titles and so many different AAA titles that are out right now. How do you think game developers can really step out on a ledge and be creative with their games while still being recognized in a genre, or maybe even creating their own genre? The last example I can really find of this was Minecraft, where we didn't really have an example of Minecraft before Minecraft. It just kind of took us by storm. It was this open world creativity engine, and everybody just fell in love with this game. So how can we really be creative as an industry while still kind of tethering ourselves to one genre or the next? Let's go with Monsters Rage.
you got to be unique. You can't go with the norm. If you're going to be creating content and you want to be seen, it just can't be a clone of something else. There's plenty of shooters out there. There's plenty of platformers out there. You have to be different. And an example of that would be shooter games. Splatoon. They did it different. Instead of the key being killing each other, the key was controlling areas with paint. And that's what made it different. That's what made it stand out. And that's why it sold so much.
And why it won Best Multiplayer.
Exactly.
And Best Shooter.
That's mind blowing to some. They're thinking, no, Call of Duty's the best. No, Battlefield's the best. No, Battlefront's the best. Well, they're all the same thing. All three games are the same game, just named differently. But they all have the same content. They all have the same items in there with different variations. But it's the same game, people. So that's my advice. If you're going to get into creating your own content, think outside the box. Don't go with what's popular. If you want to draw some information from popular games, that's fine, but make it your own. Make it your own. I was playing Comic Jumper earlier today. I don't think there's any other game out there that's like Comic Jumper. It's unique. That's why I play it. That's why I liked it. Make unique games, people. Stop making the clones of a clone of a clone of a clone.
That clone trooper accuracy. Angry Iceberg?
I think really what you want to do is look at trying to make the most out of the technology you're presented with, and and being more advanced in the space, right? So, adding experience, different experiences to what everybody already expects. Find something that kind of comes out of the left field, and really changes up the norm. And again, I think that's going to come with growing technology, or the advancement of the technology. And I think that's where you're going to see advancements in games. I think you're really only held back by the technology. Your imagination is only held back by the technology. So as technology grows, you're going to see first person shooters are going to be different, man. They're going to find a way to do it, have VR integration in some form. They're going to find a way to make it more immersive, or make the battlefield bigger, or more engaging, or even smaller. Whatever it happens to be, it's going to be an advancement in the technology. Like right now, a lot of people want those large scale first person shooter battles. Battlefield, for me, I don't really care much for Battlefield, just because it's too big. The maps are generally too big. Even with the vehicles, I don't really care for it. I'd rather have more people in there, to go along with the larger map. So again, that's just a technology thing. So
yeah, Irish.
Well, Angry makes a good point with technology. Talked about this when we had the Sovereign Esports podcast, and we had Lano on there with us a lot. Microsoft's developing a cloud technology. I forget the name they coded it with, but Crackdown's yet to be out yet, and that's supposed to be the big test, the fully destructible multiplayer, thanks to the cloud system. It already worked a little bit with Titanfall, helping them out with their AI without subtracting from their graphics or their gameplay. I think the cloud technology of Microsoft, if it does live continuously up to the hype, I think that is a technology that can really help a lot of developers, especially people who do sandbox open world RPG games, things with massive universes, help out with. I would have. It gives you a little bit. It gives you an extra support. I also think to keep games unique, I think you need to keep bringing in new companies. Same old that's been around the block for years. They're stuck in their ways. 343 used to be Bungie. That's how they stick with the same, pretty much going on Halo. Sure, they've changed up some things. Everybody that's behind Call of Duty, even though it's multiple companies now, all spawned from the original same one. Battlefield, same thing. Battlefront, same thing. It's come from a certain place. You have to keep going unique, like, bringing in the people from Bayonetta to do Scalebound, or bringing in the people who did Metroid to do ReCore. You have to bring in new companies that have unique visions to keep making these unique games, because if you stick with the same games that are under the same publishers every year, they have a certain way of doing things, and they always have this certain way. So I think it's going to come down to an advancement of technology, more technology out there. I think it's also going to come up from the new indie developers. I think they're the key more than ever. When they expand from just indie, but they still keep their core as much as they can. It's got to be new companies, or it's got to be companies that maybe we traditionally don't get. Like Microsoft usually doesn't get Japanese studios. Sony is hit and miss with some of the American studios, and the people behind Witcher were Polish and are solely Poland. I think you need to keep expanding to other areas that have a passion for video games, but haven't been able to express those ideas yet. I think you almost got to go on this hunt that Hideo Kojima's been doing for tech. You almost got to go on this hunt for new developers that want to make unique games that step way outside the box. Right. And I think you got to help them. You got to help them along like other indie developers, and you got to give them the resources, give them the technology to create these unique games that can break us outside of the norm, whether they're RPG or FPS or MMO, like maybe Star Citizen's doing right now. Mm-hmm. You have to keep building up new people and new companies along with the advancement of technology.
Yeah. My point of view on this is, players want to be able to be creative. I think video games allow for a unique platform for creativity. I think that's partially why Minecraft was such a success early on. Was because it was this big creative sandbox. I think that actually video games since Minecraft has been lacking in creativity. I think we could actually be more creative, more customization options when you're playing a racing game. More transmogrifying in Destiny. There you go, Angry Iceberg. There's my one, Destiny reference for this stream, for this podcast. More armor pieces and sets for, Fallout 4, different dyes so you can change colors on them. People want to be creative because they want to stand out. And I think the video game industry needs to kind of think of ways to be more creative, but at the same time be thoughtful of what the gamer wants. Because the last creative game before Minecraft that I could really think of was The Sims. You were able to kind of create your house, create your Sims, and kind of create a world around you. Other than that, we didn't really have that many creativity simulations in the video game marketplace, as far as I can think of. If you guys can think of something else, please.
I would argue the ME series in general because of the way it ran its choices in writing. I would say it was unique in that way. Other than that, it falls into certain RPG stuff it had when it did Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. They already had that dialogue base. I think what made that unique was story choices, but I don't think it was enough to make it. It was a great series overall, but talking from what we're talking about to make it completely unique, you need to do more than just, the choices. You need an all-around refit of a genre. You need to go somewhere that isn't. It's breaking outside the norm, and I think it's sometimes a little bit too uncomfortable to go outside the norm for developers because publishers don't go for that. Therefore, they don't have the money to back it. Like I haven't seen EA back a game that is totally outside the realm of what is usually the norm. I haven't seen Microsoft's been kind of doing it a little, so Sony, but until you really get, these indie developers make great games. Like the people behind Ori and the Blind Forest, they deserved all the credit they did and all the recognition that they got. But imagine what that team could do if they had a bigger studio, more money, but still had the freedom to do what they wanted, and what we could receive from that company in the future. Right. It's just kind of building up the little guy, giving him the resources, and not being too afraid of. We're almost in the area of video games right now where we're like Hollywood, right? We're like sequels. We're not going for the original ideas right off the bat. We're sticking with what makes money.
Yeah.
And until we break out of that, then when we break out of that, I think you got to go with those indie developers, those indie movies, those Sundance movies, those indie games. That's where it comes out.
the Kickstarters are coming in. I think that's
Yeah.
where indies are going, because they
Absolutely.
know that they're not going to get the money from the big guys, because the big guys just aren't going to back Risk. They're just not. It's not a good money maker, so they're not going to do it. So the Kickstarter programs that they've got going right now, I think, is fantastic. There's a lot of games that just wouldn't have been made if that wasn't available to them. Mighty Number 9 coming out only because of Kickstarter. So yeah,
Star Citizen
I'm-
would not have been backed.
yeah, same thing. Like,
big.
I think that's the way the indies are going. I think that's another crucial point. If you're thinking of creating content, maybe go the way of Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't approach these big companies, because you're just going to be lost in the shuffle.
And the last EA game that actually did go on a limb, Mirror's Edge.
Yep, that
And
game is awesome.
Catalyst will be at E3 as well. Catalyst
Yeah.
will be fully at E3.
But EA
Yeah.
can go on the ledge from time to time.
I mean, they did back Mass Effect 1. I mean,
Yeah.
they did back an unknown game that went under the radar until it got all the recognition that people started talking about. And that was mainly because of the dialogue, the writing, and its choices being actually impactful upon your game.
But also think back in the time when Mass Effect 1 came out, EA was in competition with a lot of different companies. They weren't the big Bronco they are now. So it
yeah,
was a
true.
different time then.
Early
Yeah.
2000s, right? So
Yeah.
it must have been 2005-ish, 2006-ish.
Sounds about right.
Because ME2 came out in 2010, but I know it took longer from ME1 to go to ME2 than ME2 took to ME3.
Right.
Yeah, I can't give you an exact date. I can't remember. But it was, like back in the day when, Activision and all the different companies were all competing with each other too. So backing a company backing a game like that would have been easier then than it is for them to do now.
Yeah, because most
true.
of them are set in their ways, and they're all about that dollar bill, y'all.
Money. Give it.
And
It's the Hollywood thing right now. Sequels
Yeah.
make money.
yeah, and we
Like,
will
even
now-
Watch Dogs 2 will make money, just as long as
No.
they improve upon it.
Oh god,
That'll make
no.
money. I guarantee you that'll still make money.
No, it won't. They
Yes, it
lost
will.
money on Watch Dogs 1,
It
didn't they?
saddens me that I'll buy that.
Oh god, Monster, you need
I
help.
have to. Variety,
You need-
sir.
You need help. And our last topic, we're gonna briefly discuss this because we're a little over time as it is already. But One Life challenges. I have a nice little picture of a Psycho mask there in the middle, and we're gonna talk about One Life challenges. Now, I am competing in a One Life challenge on Borderlands 2, but I'm talking about One Life challenges in possibly other games. Fallout 4 comes to mind. Any kind of first-person shooter, RPG style. Destiny, I don't really see it happening because it has an online component that's too unpredictable. Possibly you could do the old Fallouts, Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas. You could do the Medal of Honor series. You could even possibly do some of the older Call of Duty series. I think 3 would be way too short and way too, unpredictable to do a One Life in. So how would you guys feel about One Life being something Twitch does, like an event, like, okay, I'm gonna One Life Fallout 4, and there's got to be a community that goes in One Life's Fallout 4, or somebody that goes in One Life's Mass Effect. How would you feel that might be like a subgenre of Twitch where they can have these kind of competitions? We'll start with Angry Iceberg.
Oh, sure.
Yep.
I think what you said there at the end, could it be a genre? Sure. I mean, you got games, people that are doing speed runs, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
One Life challenges could, be a thing. I haven't taken a specific interest in it, but you talk about Destiny. There is some component to that when you look at Raids. They got a flawless raider achievement, so there is kind of that. People do try to do One Life solo raids and solo PvE events. So there is some of that in Destiny. But I don't know. I mean, like I think it could be interesting depending on your particular title, and I think your RPGs are going to be generally what you find is going to probably gain the most interest, or even some of your shorter games. The ones that aren't going to take too long. People that almost could speed run. How about a speed run? One Life speed run. How about that? I mean, you can still kind of see some of that. So, I mean, sure, why not?
Yeah. Let's go Monster Rage.
All right. Well, first of all, I won't be doing the One Life challenge. I am. I'm a scrub. I'm a scrub, people. I play so many games. I'm not good at any of them anymore. But I do enjoy watching somebody like plow through a game and not die. It does take skill, especially in games like, well, you go on the hardest difficulty of Borderlands and you watch them go through that. You're just like, how did I die by the time I get to level 3, and they're going up to level 30, right? And it blows my mind that people can just keep an eye on that for so long and be able to succeed at it. So yeah, I think that there is a community that would be entertained by that, and I don't see it going the way of competitions. I don't see it going to tournament bases like Major League Gaming, but I do see a subgenre community that would be enticed into that, and you could do that with like Mario games, One Life, going all the way through the whole game. You could do that even with rail shooters. Get through the whole thing in One Life. So yeah, there's a ton of different genres that could take place to have it. There's some that wouldn't work well, but yeah, there's area for it. I agree. There's area for that.
All right, Pulsar?
Yeah, there's definitely area for that. I mean, Mass Effect already had a challenge that nobody really knew about that called Permadeath, which was basically you do it, most people have done it on the Insanity difficulty, and if you die, you restart the entire game, which is basically One Life. So, something like Mass Effect could work. You could bring it back and do retro thanks to Steam. You could, like, play Jade Empire and, like, you can't die. You can do Knights of the Old Republic. You can't die. You can do any of these older games and not. You could do some of the Mario games back in the day, and you just can't die, or else you start completely all over. You can. There's a lot of options you could do for a One Life challenge throughout quite a bit of genres that would garner some viewers, whether it's modern or retro, just because of the name of the game. I think it's a fun thing to watch. It's something I won't do because I can be responsible for destruction property. For certain at possible times, and I don't want that to happen because that causes me to lose money. But it's a fun thing to watch every once in a while. And like Angry said, it's like you could, if they really wanted to go hardcore with it, like some major streamer like Markiplier or Ray that used to be at Rooster Teeth, you could add a speed run to it too, and that'll just piss everybody off. But I mean, there's options you can do.
How about having a friend with a taser gun just sitting there? As soon as you die, he tasers you.
Cattle prod.
That would be incentive not to die, wouldn't it? I'm gonna get electrocuted if I die.
Just some guy standing next to you with a paintball gun. It's like, you die, 3 shots.
Temple. Straight headshots.
See? It could go all different ways, people. There is entertainment to be had.
There's so many challenges everywhere. You could do so many things with it if you wanted to. And there's no shortage of games to do a One Life challenge on. There really isn't.
Right. Well, I believe that will actually wrap up this episode of The Loading Screen. We'll go around the room. Tell us what you do, where you are, when you do it. We'll start out with Monsters Rage.
All right, I am a variety broadcaster. I stream on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, Wii U, some of the older consoles, very little PC. But I'm on 6 days a week on Twitch TV/Monstrous Rage, 8 hours a day. Come by. Come and hang out. Come and say hi. Watch how I play games. Terribly. But I'm entertaining. But I still suck. Come on by. But I'm really bad. Next.
All right, Angry Iceberg.
Was that your way just to tell him not to expect much?
Yeah, pretty much.
It's all right, so that I don't get made fun of.
Yeah, there you go. I'm Angry Iceberg. I'm also not really great at video games, but I do play Destiny all the time, so I'm getting sort of good at that game, kind of. So come on by, check it out. I'm on twitch.tv every single day, beginning at 6 o'clock Eastern most days. On the weekends, I do stream a little bit earlier, depending on work schedules and stuff like that. You can also find me on Twitter at Angry_Iceberg, which is also my Twitch handle, Angry_Iceberg. Also, I'm going to be starting on my YouTube channel. I'll have more information on that coming up either next week or the week after, because I started doing a new event on Monday nights that I'm calling it Monday Night Rare, which is basically bringing two other Destiny streamers on with me to multi-stream on Monday nights, just talk about Destiny, talk about streaming, and talk about just whatever the chat wants to talk about, and give those other streamers a little bit of extra exposure that they may have not received before. It's kind of my way of paying forward some of the support that I've received from the community. And because those that are familiar with the Destiny community, that's really what that Destiny Twitch community is all about, is supporting each other. And it's been pretty great being a part of it. And so, like I said, I'm just trying to pay it forward. This next week I'll be doing PS4. After that, the next week will be Xbox One. I'll be rotating week by week for that. So again, I'll be uploading those to YouTube as well as other content. Again, I'll have more information on that in the coming weeks. So stay tuned.
Yes, that is PM, by the way. Helix in the chat was asking whether or not that was 6 a.m. or 6 p.m. We would not want to see Angry Iceberg on a Saturday stream at 6 a.m. because that would be
Iceberg.
horrible. There we go. And I am Cakes Gaming. Oh, wait.
Yeah,
about our special guest.
Screw the new guy. We don't want to know anything about him.
Thank you, Jess, for being on the podcast. Bye, everybody.
All right, Irish, tell us who you are, where you are, what you're doing, and when you're doing it.
So I am a very relatively new streamer. I've been streaming for almost 2.5 weeks right now. What I'm doing right now is the way I started out. I'm doing ME1 through ME3, all 100%, all content, all DLC. Currently on ME2 right now. I do play PlanetSide 2, League of Legends, and Star Wars: The Old Republic sometimes. I switch it up just to keep it, I guess, fresh would be the word. I've finally locked down a schedule. I stream Sunday through Thursday, 8 p.m. To 12 to midnight or 2 a.m. depending. Pacific Standard Time. I'm on the West Coast. My Twitter is exactly like my Twitch handle, at Irish Pulsar. If there's any changes to the schedule, I usually tweet it out, or if there's a delay, I usually tweet it out. But Sunday through Thursday, I'm 8 p.m. to 12 or 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. Right now, just doing Mass Effect, maybe some PlanetSide, maybe some Old Republic, maybe some League of Legends. Don't know what I'm going to do after this. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm working on it, but I'm still a very relatively new streamer. As I said, only 2 weeks. So come check me out. I mean, if you want to talk Mass Effect or just the video game industry in general, I know I've had some talks with some of my viewers about video game movies and how they could work, in my opinion. So it's a really chill stream. Just come out. You can watch. You can talk. I don't care what you do. Just come on out. It's fun. It's a fun thing for me, and I love talking with people that love video games. So it gives me an opportunity to do that while playing my favorite game.
Yeah, Irish is a great guy. I've known him for at least 4 months now. When you guys were doing Sovereign Esports,
about 5 now. Yeah, 5. Yeah,
about 5 months. Really great guy, chill dude, great guy to talk to. He'll give you his attention all day long. He'll keep yapping at you if you keep talking to him. So go ahead and drop him a follow if you can, guys. He's a really good guy. And now, for the guy that tried to skip over you.
I'm going to be streaming right after this, actually. I've got everything set up to go.
Yeah, so there you go. If you guys are going to be staying up, go ahead and check out Irish Pulsar. He's going to be up streaming some Mass Effect. And you guys are in my channel, Cadex Gaming, Twitch stream dedicated helping you in game and in life. I'd like to thank Monsters Rage and Angry Iceberg for the continued support of the podcast. I'd like to thank our special guest, Irish Pulsar, for coming in. Member of Sovereign Esports coming in. Number 2 coming in after Skill. I want to thank him and his Amish beard, of course. And I had to. And thank you, everybody, for coming out to the podcast. This has been episode number 15 of The Loading Screen. For Monsters Rage, Angry Iceberg, Irish Pulsar, this is Cadex. Always here to urge you to keep calm and game on. Outro dance. Outro dance. Outro dance. Outro, outro, outro.